Hey guys, this is Pastor. Have you seen this? Where we get a video sent to us and we get to do a cold take on a video we've never seen before and tell you our perspective from pastor Christian worldview perspective. My name's Alex. I'm one of the pastors on staff at Allen Creek Community Church where this production happens. And if you would like to send us some videos, you can send it to social@ac3.org. We would love to comment on what you have for us. But let's just see what you guys decided to send me today. Ooh, free will.
In my view, we can build an argument, I think, from a law of logic, the proposition that P must either be true or false, and it can't be both, it can't be neither. We can simply ask a question of any kind of mental activity. Is it determined or is it not? That is it determined by anything else or is it completely undetermined by anything? If it's undetermined by anything, then it's random, and you're by definition not in control of that which is random. If it's determined by something, then it's either determined by something further inside your mind or it's determined by something external to your brain. If it's determined by something external to yourself, if that's what's determining the action, then clearly you're not in ultimate control of that action. If it's something inside of yourself somewhere, then all you do is push the problem back and you ask the question again, is that thing determined or is it indeterminate? Either of which you are completely out of control of. If you say that it terminates in something like a soul, people like to do this. They say, well, look, with a religious philosophy, we have the benefit of introducing a soul. That doesn't solve anything. It's not a matter of having to explain the mechanism by which the soul brings about actions. That may well be a mystery. But if it is the case that whatever it is that's doing that is either determined or it's not, and that if it's not, it's random and therefore out of your control, and that if it is, it ultimately terminates in something outside of yourself or something random, and both of which are out of your control, free will cannot exist. The argument...
Well, that's a bold claim. So, understanding his argument here, if I understand correctly, he's saying if something controls everything, that it cannot, it's either random or it's not, right? It's either random or not, and we can go straight to the creation narrative. Either the world was created by intelligent design or it wasn't. It was random. And that's the logic. So now, if we were created, say humans were created, and we are not a random accident, and that there was a creator, there's a God who created us. Did he wind up a clock and just let us go, and now everything else is random? Or is he intervening with our lives? And if he's intervening with our lives, then is our choices really our own, or was it predetermined, predestined to happen? And so my argument with him is he's doing a logical argument that steps outside of a spiritual realm in which God can't be put in a box, right? So if we're talking free will from a God perspective, from a Christian worldview, that there's no way to put God in this box of determinate or indeterminate. He is just what he is. There's no explanation of the vastness and the magnitude of who God is. We can't describe him. We have attributes of him that we understand from his scriptures, but there's no way to put him in a box of logical probability. There's just not. And so if you kind of have to step outside that realm, right? And then to understand, okay, does God of the universe, who can do anything, does he control everything? And the point being is that God loves us so much, that he allows us to do what we're going to do because he wants us to choose him and choose to follow him. Now, it seems weird because it would be like, well, God, Alex, why would a loving God, allow evil to happen? Why would a loving God allow people to get shot and murdered? Why would a loving God allow my mom to be taken from me? These are questions that people have to ask and wrestle with. And my point is this, is that if I love my daughter, Janora, which I do, and if I love her so much, I am going to give her choices that she's going to make. And as she grows up, I'm not going to control every single thing she does because that's not loving. Actually, in some cases, especially with social workers, they would say that's abusive if I'm controlling every single thing she's doing. That's abusive. But like a good parent who loves their child, I'm going to let her make mistakes because she's going to learn from those mistakes and she's hopefully going to grow from those mistakes. But I can't protect her forever. I can't protect her all the time. I can give her guidance, which God does. I can give her opportunities, which he does. But I also know that some bad things could happen. Janora could make some really horrible choices, and that could be really painful for me. And it actually is super painful for God to see that stuff too, the same way. If you have ever known somebody who's a parent of a teenager, you know that sometimes teenagers' mistakes are extremely painful for the parent to see. And I think that's a really good image of who God is as he sees us make mistakes. It still hurts him. And maybe not even mistakes, but literally awful sins, and it hurts him deeply. But the argument, is free will a thing? I don't understand how he can make the argument that if there's some sort of being that exists and is interacting with our world and controlling and creating things, that somehow that negates the ability to have free will, because if the creator is outside of that logic, then we have the ability for the creator to choose to give us free will. And I would love to hear your thoughts on that. I think that he makes it clear that it's either random or it's not. And I would argue that, yeah, it's not random, but that doesn't mean that there are certain situations that we don't have choice in. We do. We have choices, and we got to make the right ones. So, all right, guys, I'd love to hear from you. Signing off.